Hey there, my name's Jesse, and you're listening to the Deep Lore Boys podcast.
This is like Phoenix Jones, but good.
It did not smell good at all.
I hate monkeys.
Oh my god.
I just gave Jackson a... How do we start this episode? I feel like we have to address the hiatus somehow.
Address
But,
the elephant in the room. I feel like it's
Maybe we
not
shouldn't.
actually really that. We've had worse hiatuses before.
We've had
haven't we?
much worse hiatuses.
Yeah, I feel like
All
Yeah,
right,
but I feel
let's
like
just-
this
really
hiatus
okay.
was caused for a very justifiable reason.
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, I got married to my beautiful bride, Maddie. She's in the Discord right now, Maddie Cakes 57. And that's why the hiatus has happened. That's why episodes have been a little scarce lately, but we've kind of gotten into the rhythm of life, and so we're back. We are so back. Oh my gosh, Maddie literally just doxed us. My wife in the Discord just dropped the face reveal of all three of
No
us.
way.
Just instantly.
No way. That's it right there.
There it is. So actually, I want to see people guess which one of us is which. Half the people in this Discord know us personally, but
I think they can tell pretty quickly.
it's just which one of them looks more like Al from Al's Toy Barn. And
Yeah, you know,
Yeah, oh, then it's also
quickly.
like a lot of people think Matthew and I look alike.
We're gonna put some pictures of us on screen for video viewers of the podcast.
That's fine, yeah, might as well,
there's
might
three
as
of
well.
us.
I feel like the best face reveals though are the ones that you don't plan for. They happen.
Yeah, I think this is the best way it could have happened. You can probably ascertain who each of us is just by the photo, but if not, I'm the one in the middle. We got Jackson on the left
That's me.
and Matthew on the right there, and this is a great
This is-
picture.
yeah.
I'm glad that we were face revealed in this way. I wanted to talk about this guy. If anybody listening or in the Discord right now has seen the movie Nacho Libre, what a great film.
10 out of 10.
It is based on a true story. I didn't know this, and I still don't know much about it, but Fray Tormenta was a Mexican Catholic priest who founded and supported an orphanage for 23 years as a lucha libre wrestler. Does it get any more cinematic than that?
I love, so the name Fray Tormenta, just to open it, means Friar Storm, which I think is just such a...
That's a nice name.
That goes hard.
Man, I love it, dude.
So can we call him
love the
Friar
fact
Storm
this guy
for the rest of
exists.
the bit?
I think we can only do that actually.
That's all we got. So he was born. I'm not gonna get this
Wait,
pronunciation
in
right.
1945, he's 79.
Yeah, and he's still
And he
still
was
alive,
wrestling
as far
in
as I
the
can tell.
2000s, so he was like...
Oh wait,
what?
are you kidding me? He was in the early 2000s?
Right now he's 79, so he's still
Wait,
alive.
no, there's no way. No. He started in 73. Okay, he just occasionally
okay.
would show up throughout the 2000s and then officially retired in 2011. So,
Okay.
His full birth name here is, I'm not gonna get this right, Sergio Benitez, but the middle name is something I dare not pronounce.
Gutierrez?
Gutierrez.
Gutierrez. Man, I need to learn how to pronounce things that aren't English.
I know, right?
Whoa, he had 16 siblings.
Dude,
What?
that is a
Yeah.
big family. That's
Oh
a
my
big
gosh.
family, man.
That explains the
Yeah.
wrestling though. You come from a big family.
Yeah,
you gotta know
they're
how
all
to
just
fight.
fighting each other.
That's true. Yeah.
They're just-
That explains it. He was the 16th of their 17 children. You got to be a fighter if you're toward the bottom of the totem pole.
Dude.
Um,
Wait, he was 22, so Jesse, he was our age, and he was a drug addict and alcoholic, and then was like, oh, well, I can be a priest, which I think, so he was interested in the priesthood, and then
Okay.
he went to Rome and then Spain when he was trying to become a priest.
oh, for his theological training. Okay.
Yeah.
He later became a secular priest. I don't know what that means. Is that atheism priest at the Diocese of Texcoco?
Okay, so a secular priest, at least according to Google AI, so take this with a
Ooh,
grain
okay.
of salt,
Okay.
is a Christian priest who is not a member of a religious order or monastery.
So
Is that
then,
what that
as
means, I
a
guess?
non-denominational priest, a secular priest, he founded an orphanage which would serve as the home of 270 children in need of money to take care of the children. He became the masked wrestler known as Fray Tormenta. And this was not a
Man.
secret. Fray Tormenta was in the name of the orphanage.
Yeah.
It was
What does
La
that
Casa
translate
Hogar
to?
de los Cachorros de Fray Tormenta.
means Fray Tormenta's cubs home. That's
That goes
that's
so
what that
hard.
means. All right. So
You
basically,
don't want to
he's
mess with the
just saying, like,
Cubs.
yeah, don't mess with my cubs. All right. That's what he's saying. I'm all 270 of them. He sets up this orphanage, doesn't have enough money. And so he's like, you know what? We got this. And just picks up wrestling.
Oh, so he was inspired by other movies. 2 1963 films.
One was called El Señor Tormenta, Mr. Storm, and the other one was called Tormenta en el Ring, Storm in the Ring. So that might explain the character
that explains the
profile here.
Tormenta part.
That's-
And now
right.
for the Friar.
And there's no context given. It's just he watched some Mexican wrestling films or something when he was a kid. He was a drug addict and alcoholic, and then he just did this.
This is like Phoenix Jones, but good.
This guy's career, Fray Tormenta's career, lasted 23 years. So, okay, so it would have started in the 70s, but like, and although he made appearances in the 2000s, I guess like he had a 23-year-long career.
I guess, yeah. I mean, if he says he started in, well, I mean, that's longer than 23 years. If he started in 73 and then stopped doing it like consistently in 2001 and then officially retired in 2011, that's still more than 23 years. That's a long time.
Although semi-retired from wrestling since 2001, Fray Tormenta still wrestles occasionally. And in 2011, he won his second lucha de apuesta. Later in 2011, he teamed up with another wrestler to defeat Black Terry, Scorpio Jr.
Dude,
Man, he's
Scorpio Sr. was too busy starring in Just Cause 2.
Really?
Thank you for that, Jackson.
But yeah, on July 3rd, 2011, he announced that was his final match.
Dude, bring him back. Yeah, can he fight Jake Paul, actually? I feel like he'd win. I feel like that. I mean, that's wrestling and boxing. That's a different experience, but still, man.
He could totally take him.
I think he could do it, hands down. Though Fray Tormenta is now retired from professional wrestling, he still works at the orphanage as a priest and has inspired one of his children to take up his mantle so that the legend of Fray Tormenta can live on.
It's like Batman and Robin.
So they don't know who the real one is, but he still wears the mask, and his name is Fray Tormenta Jr.
Nice.
Oh man,
no, this guy is cool. This might be like one of my favorite people we've discussed on the podcast. Just in terms
it's just
of like
wholesome
aura.
Define aura.
I don't know, man. He just has like energy, you know. Like got that.
You can't tell me that picture you sent of him with like Mother Mary on his chest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he has an aura. Okay, like like I'm not Catholic at all, but I can fully appreciate what I'm seeing. Like
Trevor says, I am Catholic and I can confirm aura.
That's
Thanks,
when
Trevor.
have you been Catholic?
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of the Deep Lore Boys podcast. And genuinely, thank you. We like you. We don't want you to just be a number on a screen or a random like. We would love to actually have you be a part of the community, which is why we've got a Discord for our listeners linked in the description of all our episodes. Hop on, it's a ton of fun. We send memes, we discuss lore, and talk about stupid stuff. You never can tell what's going to go down in the Deep Lore Boys Discord. Again, that Discord is linked in the description of our episodes. It's on our YouTube channel. It's easy to find, and we look forward to having you. All right, here's the rest of the episode. I did want to talk about, have you guys ever heard about the chimp that was raised alongside a human child to see if it would become human-like?
Yes, I have heard about this.
Can we talk about that?
Wait, what is that? Is that like a sad bit like Travis the monkey, or is that totally unrelated?
No.
Matthew, you've never heard of this?
No, this is like a very different one.
Dude, you are like
don't know
the
that I've
monkey enthusiast.
I
like,
love chimps. Do not call chimp monkey. All right, that's a very important distinction here. I just want to state my case here. A chimp, monkey, different species. Different.
Look, I'm coming.
All right,
Matthew,
just
this is
wanna
going to be
make
a
that
controversial bit because we have very different opinions on
okay.
on these creatures.
You're gonna make the claim that a monkey is a chimp?
No.
No, you know what?
You got me there, but I'm going to just give a disclaimer before we even start this. I hate monkeys. I just
Oh my god.
I just gave Jackson a
I
heart
might
attack.
leave the call here. What did they do to you?
Here's the thing. I just don't trust them. I do not trust them. Travis the chimp, we've all heard of him. He was
Yeah, we know what
a
happened there.
great
That's a little
guy.
weird.
Everybody in town loved him. Great pet. One day just ripped someone's face off.
Well, okay, he was also given like tons of drugs though too. That was why he acted like that.
Well, still, like,
Yeah, I mean, if I give
they're
you
just
the right
dangerous.
dose of the right drugs, you could rip someone's face off too.
yeah, but like, if you've ever watched, like, I remember watching America's Funniest Home Videos as a kid, and like 2 or 3 times in one night, there would be a monkey that like climbs into a guy's shirt and steals his wallet and runs away. They're unpredictable. They're stupid strong, a lot of them, and very fast. I just don't trust them. I shouldn't say I hate them because like Curious George is a real one, but I don't know. Don't trust monkeys.
Okay, and if you go to a country that has monkeys, like I've talked to, and granted, I've been stuck in America my entire life. Everybody I've talked to who has lived in countries with monkeys has all of them, whenever we go to the subject there, despise them. They cannot stand the monkeys. And I'll ask them, I'll like really kind of dig because I'm like, yeah, so what's the deal with the monkeys? And they're just like, they're disrespectful, they're annoying, they're rude, they steal everything all the time.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like one of my friends was talking to me and he said that he like got up. He was out at like a food court and had to like go up to get a napkin from the like vendor that he got his food from, which was like 15 feet away. And by the time he turned around, a monkey had already run off up a tree with his food. He was like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, and apparently it was just consistent. Like you couldn't leave anything unattended ever, or else the monkeys would get it.
That's what I'm saying. They're just not to be trusted. This is one primate story that I don't mind. It doesn't have a tragic, brutal ending. This topic is called the Kellogg study. So Gua, I think that's how you pronounce her name, she was a chimpanzee, and she was part of an experiment where this couple, they like went off the grid. They like quit their jobs to full-time science mode with their infant son, Donald, and this chimpanzee, Gua. They got her as a baby, so both the chimp and Donald were little, and they raised them together to see if they could raise a chimpanzee as a human and like teach it to maybe talk or read and write or just communicate, to see if it was like nature versus nurture, kind of put the kibosh on that.
Gotcha.
Is this Curious George? Is that what you're telling me right now? Is this what
Effectively, man.
Like, is this what's happening?
So Gua was born in Cuba. She was brought into the Kellogg home at age of 7.5 months. And Donald was 10 months old at the time. So yeah, they were raised as brother and sister, both very little. And so they began to, they're testing the kids to see, how they're developing and how smart they are. Gua often tested ahead of Donald in tasks like responding to simple commands, using a cup and spoon, which makes sense because I believe chimpanzees kind of like mature at a different rate than humans.
Yeah, they do mature faster. So what you're telling me is a baby monkey is smarter than baby human?
Yes.
Is this what we're...
Which is why they decided to get rid of Donald, because he just wasn't cutting it.
Yeah, they're like...
yeah, it's...
So, but it's saying the chimp didn't have the same facial recognition that like the human baby had.
Gua recognized people from their clothes and their smell. Donald could pick up faces, so there's a bit of difference in that.
Wait, hold on. So Gua she wore clothes, okay, including shoes, and walked around upright with a spoon, drink from a glass, opened doors, and imitated human gestures and ways of showing affection, like hugging and kissing Donald and her parents.
She was wheeled in a carriage, sat in a high chair, slept in a bed, and was kissed goodnight.
I once saw a movie about this, and then they had to give up the chimp. It went into this place where they were abusing chimps.
It's called Harry and the Hendersons?
No. And then he started beating the chimp with like a like electric rod, and then the chimp took it from him and beat him and was like, no. And then
I remember when that happened, actually. Crazy moment. Yeah. They broke out of the chimp cage and destroyed the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes.
Okay, that reminds me of something. I don't think this is mentioned on the Wikipedia, but they got a little weird with some of their experiments. They wanted to test how Gua and Donald would react to certain things. And so sometimes while they were just eating breakfast, their parents would walk up behind them and fire a gun, like right behind them.
That's not very nice.
And I think it was like with blanks in it, not like
Yeah.
shooting a bullet into their ceiling.
Still,
I think.
that's very scary for both a child and a chimpanzee.
Yeah, and I
it's not very
think they were both
nice.
pretty freaked out by it. So this went on for several years, and Gua is the most childlike chimpanzee that there maybe has ever been. But that's when it started to get a little odd, because the parents, their hope was that they could raise a monkey to be like a human. But instead, Donald began to get more monkey-like.
Dude, there's
so
no way.
They were trying to teach them language, and Gua just wasn't picking it up. Donald was starting to form words, but then he just began to regress, and he started making like grunting noises and stuff, copying Gua.
And then,
dude,
that was when the family decided to end it, I guess.
What?
That was when they were like, oh, okay, this
Wait,
is
this
not
isn't working out. Dude.
And I don't even think it was just the language testing. I think he genuinely was acting more like the baby chimp than the baby chimp was taking up after him. And then they were like, this is enough's enough here.
Well, it sounds like Gua was smarter than him. And so it sounds like he was looking up to Gua as like the older sibling who knew what they were doing. And so he wanted to embody that. And it's also kind of telling, to be honest, that like at our core as humans, when we're young, we want to be monkey. Like, I think this, like, dude, we don't want to have to
born
deal
to
with...
dilly-dally, forced to lock in.
That's what I'm saying. We don't want to deal with this.
Like, you're right, Jackson. You're right.
This experiment did not prove their hypothesis, but it proved a modern hypothesis very true.
Man, the report found that there are definite limits to the degree of humanization that can be achieved by non-human species, regardless of the amount of socializing and humanizing effects. But they went pretty far. Apparently, Gua's toilet training was slower than the control achieved by the boy. Like, they had more trouble with that.
Okay.
But I mean, honestly,
do you think you could toilet train a chimp? I feel like that could be done. Like, because there are people that teach like their cats and dogs to go in the toilet. I've heard of that happening before, which I think is really funny. Like, so like if you can teach a dog or a cat to do that, I feel like you should be able to teach a monkey.
Edge Carew says giving a kid trauma for science, and then says I want to get a skunk and potty train it.
Yeah, you know, that's priorities.
CPT Tris says experiment stopped too early, should have kept going to see what happened.
That's what I'm thinking. We could have had like Tarzan, and they'd be like, man, were you raised by monkeys? He's like, no, my parents were humans. Ooga booga. And just
but my older sister was a monkey. Well, younger sister technically, but she's gigantic, so
my younger sister, who is smarter than I am in every way, is also a monkey.
She has some problems with facial recognition, but
otherwise,
that's pretty much it.
Otherwise, she's pretty good. I mean, how long do chimps live to be?
Much older than 3. That's not... Yeah, that was a young chimp death.
Wait, did Gua die at 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was returned to the primate center in Florida, where she was the subject of further studies. The Kellogg's returned to Indiana. I guess that's where they lived. And Gua died of pneumonia less than a year after she left, just after turning 3 years old. So that may have been like a depression kind of thing, I imagine. Which is really sad. Like, I don't like chimps, but I don't want them to, die an early death either.
What? Well, then we have no idea how smart the monkey can get, because it died before it even hit puberty. We're like, okay, well, the chimp can't get that smart. And then it dies at the equivalent of being like 6 years old. Like, that, like, okay.
Apparently, it wasn't just that Donald would make chimp noises. That was part of it. And he would mimic chimp behaviors when he wanted food. He also quit walking and started moving around on all fours, and the two were wrestling. And then when they decided like enough was enough was when he ended up apparently biting when he was mad. Yeah. And they were like, no, that's not.
What? That's like typical like toddler behavior though.
No,
like,
but it was like biting when he was angry.
Dude, do you think we could have seen him like banging on his crib and like and like it just being like full.
So unfortunately, Donald
freaking out.
He lived until he was 47 from the looks of it and became a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Oh, Donald
And
did?
then, yeah, and then in 1973 he killed himself.
Oh,
that's awful.
that's an
That's
unexpected
unfortunate.
twist.
Not
Yeah.
that much is known about him outside of that. Most people have said that this experiment was not ethical, and I'm going to be honest, I think you have a young child now growing up with an animal that's going to develop faster than that can hurt that child's self-confidence and stuff as they get older.
I don't
Well,
know
like,
that.
I imagine as you get older, your self-confidence has to grow because you're like, oh, wait, this thing is,
Yeah.
like, way shorter than me, and it's a monkey, and my
Yeah,
parents are
like,
scientists. Like,
I feel like
I don't think
by the
you would
time-
stay
No,
attached to it like
but
a
I think when
sibling.
you're a child and you're starting to formulate like ideas and stuff, and you're always like second in a lot of ways, it's not always a good thing. But I also don't know if
guess.
that's
that can
entirely
happen,
what
but
caused
yeah,
it.
I wouldn't definitively attribute that to anything.
Beast of Gevaudan. What is this?
Beast of
It's in the.
Gevaudan.
I'll send over the article.
That's
here.
I got
Oh.
it. I got it.
Oh,
That's a
this
cool
guy.
looking thing.
Oh, he's cool. Oh, he's really cool.
This is a scary guy. All right, I'm
Yeah.
dropping the Wikipedia in the chat. Tell us about this beast.
So basically, imagine you're living in the countryside of France, like 100 years before the French Revolution. All right, taking care of your cows in the pasture here in the countryside of France, and suddenly, a beast like a wolf yet not a wolf runs out of the woods and charges at you, and all of your cattle just like run at it and basically just try to chase it down and just own this thing.
Wait,
And it
the
just
cows
tanks
fight
it.
back?
The cows defend you and then drive it off the field. But then the beast comes back, and this time there's no cattle.
So, context, the sightings of this beast were between 1764 and 1767, South Central France. The
Yes.
attacks spanned, so there were multiple with this creature, one of which killed this girl, but they spanned 90 by 80 kilometers, so 56 by 50 miles to, our hometown Americans. It is described as this beast of a tawny russet color with dark streaks or stripes down its back and a tail longer than a wolf's, ending in a tuft. It attacked with formidable teeth and claws, the size of a calf or cow, and seemed to fly or bound across fields towards its victims.
Some of the reports, which are probably more superstition than anything, claim that it could occasionally stand upright and walk around. And they also said that it consistently could repel bullets, and that people were swearing that it
Whoa.
would come back from the dead. Like they would shoot it, it would lay there, and then just get back up.
So King Louis
So-
the 15th of France.
Louis, please.
Louis.
Louis, not
Sorry,
Louis.
King Louis.
Put some respect on his name.
Just
King
what I
Louis
say.
the 15th of France sent many hunters to actually kill this, at least according to Google AI. So again, grain of salt. But he sent many hunters to kill the beast, and I guess they couldn't find it, or when they did find it, they couldn't kill it.
Yeah, I
You would think there'd be a difference.
So eventually they did take him down. But this story, the whole Beast of Gevaudan incident, is one of the very few kind of weird, wacky stories like this that to this day remains unexplained, right? The idea is probably that it was a particularly big, funky wolf, but no one really knows what it actually was.
Yeah,
It
and nobody
was-
called it a particularly big, funky wolf.
Yeah, that's
you'd
the thing, 'cause
think
they
people would
said-
recognize that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very explicitly described like a wolf, but not a wolf. So, I mean, that implies to me that it was, I don't know. No one knows what it actually was. And I feel like if it was like a tiger or something, people knew what those were. They would have recognized it. But like even the king didn't know what this animal was. No one knew.
Yeah.
And it was
And this was not like a one-off Bigfoot encounter.
No.
it happened multiple times. Yeah.
One of the estimates is that there were 210 attacks, 113 deaths, 49 injuries. Other sources claim the animal killed 60 to 100 adults and children, with more than 30 injured.
Yeah, we don't really know how many there were, but what really does interest me the most is that apparently, according to everybody, it would exclusively kind of target people who were alone. There could be other people that would have seen it, obviously, but apparently it wouldn't go after people walking in groups. It would just like pick off people that it could get to, which is,
Oh man.
it's just really weird.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to have died here, and then the king got basically fed up. I think everyone got fed up with whatever this was.
Like, you know what? 1 or 2 deaths was fine, but now we've had enough.
The king ended up organizing 2 different like top wolf hunters at the time, and they actually ended up fighting, so they split off because one of them believed that they needed to send like an army after the thing, the other one wanted to stealthily kill it. Eventually they brought in bloodhounds, and over the next 4 months they hunted several Eurasian wolves, and oftentimes they believed that they had killed it, but then the attacks kept continuing. And then on the 11th of August, they organized a great hunt. And then at that point, that was when the Maid of Gevaudan, Marie-Jeanne Villet, who was about 20 years old, basically fended off the beast who was about to like attack a village.
So she was in the company of other peasant women. She was taking a footbridge to cross a small stream when the beast appeared. The women took a few steps back, but the beast threw itself on Marie-Jeanne, however you say it. The latter managed to plant a spear into its chest. It dropped into the river and disappeared into the woods. The minister of the king's house compared Marie-Jeanne to Joan of Arc.
That's a great honor.
Okay.
The month of November passed, no attacks. People are like, okay, I think you got it. I think it's dead. But then rumors began to spread of more attacks. On the 2nd of December, 2 young boys were further attacked, suggesting the beast was still alive. Enter Jean Castel, or
Yes.
Jean Castel.
Jean.
Castel? These French names are throwing me for a loop, man. He shot the monster, allegedly, at the slopes of Montmouchet during a hunt. The body was then loaded onto a horse and brought away, where it was necropsied? Necropicide?
That's necropsy.
Studied by a surgeon.
It's a necropsy. Basically, it's like an autopsy.
So apparently this creature that they found, though, it matched almost all of the victims' reports of whatever it was.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, this was, I think, the final killing of the creature.
Yeah.
So when they finally did investigate it, though, it reeked. It did not smell good at all, as you could guess, because, I mean, carrying it around and taking it to different people.
Well, it sounds like that was after it had been, it started stinking after a dozen days of it being autopsied.
Well, yeah, I'd stink after a dozen days.
Guibert? Which one? Who was Guibert?
Probably
again?
Guibert.
A servant. Okay, so it was one of the servants. He said that it was a great stench, and he was so inconvenienced by it that he was sick and bedridden for more than 15 days.
Oh, wow.
Dude, just from the smell of this
so
thing?
that must be really stinky.
So I don't think that was the smell. I think he got a disease from it, or like he got infected with something that it was carrying. I don't think it was just the
entirely
smell.
possible. Yeah.
Say this was some kind of creature from Africa or just some place that the locals hadn't been exposed to, and it brought germs from that part of the world that the people of France had never had before. Could that have been something?
That's entirely
So there's
possible.
a few different things. Apparently the autopsy judged that it was just a very large, I guess, deformed and sick wolf.
I will say, Marin does say this animal seemed to us to be a wolf, but extraordinary and very different by its figure and its proportions from the wolves that one sees in this country.
The other plausible solution, though, this was an animal that had escaped from a fair. So if it was a hyena or a lion or a tiger, it wouldn't have had to escape all the way from Africa. I mean,
I love the term "escape from Africa." Like this is Madagascar.
Yeah,
it was
like,
no, that's escape to Africa. That's what he's got to do after.
Oh, that's
this.
true.
Of course, yeah. Do you think it was like a tiger with mange and rabies? And it was like, I feel like at that point, even like the hyena theory is probably the best animal I could think of, but it's still so much substantially small. Like a hyena is so much smaller that I just find it unlikely.
The royal notary, Roch Marin, wrote an autopsy report, and he reported the dental formula of the creature. Upper jaw consists of 20 teeth, 6 incisors, 2 canines, and 12 molars. Lower jaw has 22.
Wolves typically have 42 teeth, 22 in the lower jaw, 20 in the upper jaw.
Oh, wow, that's exactly what this thing had.
Okay, so it's looking like this was a wolf.
Yeah, okay.
So it was basically... Is the final consensus here that it was a really freaky wolf?
I think these were
that-
just wolves that were built different.
It's looking like it may have been a wolf and dog hybrid that may have bred with different dogs at the time.
I'm thinking there's plenty of cases of like mutations and, stuff like that. I think it's very possible this could have been, I don't know, a wolf and a dog, and they got together and produced something that didn't quite turn out right. Because if it had two dew claws, that's already indicative that it was very strange. And like, if there's a lot more, it sounds like it was just a very deformed and large wolf.
So whatever this thing was, it like wasn't quite like a wolf. It wasn't quite like a hyena. It wasn't quite like anything that we can really pinpoint today. I think there were definitely multiple, and I'm sure the legends of them being like bulletproof and immortal like kind of grew over time.
Yeah.
And weren't maybe grounded in reality, but whatever this thing was, it was formidable. Hey again, it's Jesse. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Deep Lore Boys podcast. If you did, leave a like, leave a review, subscribe for more episodes, share it with a friend, you know the stuff. Thanks for listening, and I hope your day is nothing short of interesting. Take care.
I'm going to go post that one on twitter.com.